Hey everyone, it's Zach, Ohio Skater. Just been chilling. Didn't make a video yesterday, but try not to bombard you guys with too much. Um, but just doing a little life update, update of my morning, how my morning was so far. My update of my day. I just like to document my life. You know what I'm saying? But basically today you can actually see blue in the sky and the sun is shining. We haven't gone outside yet, but you can see it in the window. You know, then the next thing that has to happen, the only other next thing that has to happen is we need to see some leaves on the trees, and then I will be happy. You know, so so, but I am happy generally, but it's just a little bit of a vibe killer when it's super nasty out. But it's only been this year. That's only been like this year for me really because I didn't do any skiing or snowboarding this year, and this is like the first time in forever that I didn't do any of that, and so that was probably part of why I felt a little more in the dumps because I didn't get to the slopes and I had to take a break from it though, but it was still low key depressing. But anyway, so this morning watched some soccer. Um, uh, it was FC Cincinnati versus I think it's called Matagua, FC Matagua from was El Salvador maybe, or no, Honduras, or some Honduras I believe. Yeah. Um, yeah, and it's the round one of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Um, where all the different North American leagues have the best clubs from the different leagues in North America. It's the Champions League, but it's for North America. You know what I'm saying? So, but I got to watch FC Cincinnati, which is actually my team, FC Cincinnati. This game was a couple days ago, but we watched it this morning. We didn't know what happened, but it was a good game. Tied 1-1 at the end. But FC Cincinnati, I want to talk about FC Cincinnati for a second. So FC Cincinnati, I went to the University of Cincinnati. I went there maybe 2 or 3 years after I started going there. Maybe 2 or 3 years after FC Cincinnati had even become an MLS team, and they used to play their games in Nippert Stadium, UC's stadium, before they had their own stadium. So I caught a game there. It was pretty cool. And, I played soccer a bit growing up, and it's a sport that I understand, because I played it for I played it for the whole beginning of my childhood, basically, and I remember those were good times. So I watched some soccer here and there, and I watched my team, FC Cincinnati, play against this Matagua in the Champions League. And that was pretty cool. And we had but what I wanted to talk about, I want to expose you guys to some music that I listen to. So a lot of times when I'm watching sports, I'll mute the game and I'll throw on some music in the background. And I listened to some great music this morning. I got some playlists for you that I'm going to put in the description, links to all these playlists in the description of this video. A couple of the playlists I have created. Most of the playlists though were created by others. I believe maybe it's half and half or something like that. But yeah. So we started off listening to my jazz playlist I created from what I know about jazz and from recommendations I've gotten from people who really know about jazz on Discord. So it's a little mix of what I know and some recommendations, and it's all together good. But then I saw him with Phil. Phil's here, so I wanted to show Phil. Phil wanted to listen to jazz, so I played my jazz playlist, and but then I wanted to show Phil some other jazz playlists. Basically, so we started off with the classic 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s jazz. the famous stuff, basically the quintessential, the classics, you know. But then I brought it up to more modern day stuff with, there's another playlist I like that's not by me, it's by Chill Beats Music. So they make chill beats. So if you've heard of these different music companies that make these, they strictly focus on instrumentals. And it's usually very mellow hip hop beats. But there's also like all sorts of lo-fi hip hop beats. But there's, you know, there's vaporwave and stuff like that. But I love lo-fi hip hop beats. But there's this playlist called Jazz Hop Lounge, which is basically lo-fi beats, but jazzy lo-fi hip hop beats, very smooth, very much like and it's mellow. It's like boom bappy kinda, and it's lo-fi and it's very chill. And all the album artwork is amazing. It's low key. It's animated and like animation drawings, like low key drawings like you would see in a cool cartoon or something like that. And it's really cool. But then we went over to another playlist. This is a playlist by Spotify actually, called Jazztronica, which is very it's like it's electronica mixed with jazz, and and yeah, it's very technical, but it's made with computers. You know, that old classic stuff, the 60s and the stuff from the 60s and stuff like that, that was made with all instruments, you know. But this newer stuff, it sounds much more technical, but it's also made with computers. But it's like it's electronica, so obviously, you know, stuff like that. But they probably use some real instruments in there too. They probably got some real instruments, yeah. But it sound but what you can do with computers is amazing. You can make music sound so technical, and trippy, and so I don't hate on, I don't, music is music to me. If something sounds good, it sounds good, you know. So Jazztronica sounds good to me, and it's very it's very trippy, is what I would say. Jazztronica. So we watched jazz. We listened to jazz while we were watching this soccer game. For about the first half of the game, we listened to those jazz playlists, and I'll have a link to all three of those playlists. But then later we listened to my hip hop playlist, which I'll have a link to my hip hop playlist, and and uh, and yeah, we listened to some Low Key, the British rapper Low Key, Hand on Your Gun. We listened to some De La Soul, much more off the this 2000s De La Soul album. That they performed that on the Chappelle Show, I believe, the song. And Danny Brown, some Danny Brown, some who else? Yeah, some Gangstar, some Guru, some Guru came on, Jazzmatazz came on, and then I wanted to listen to some Gangstar, because that's really where Guru is the best, is Gangstar song. So we listened to Moment of Truth and stuff like that, and yeah, so and we listened to this other British rapper, I think something Traumatic, maybe Mr. Traumatic or something like that. Grime, you know what I'm saying? Industrial, electronica, fast-paced drum and bass type, you know, British traditional, the traditional British style of rap, which Low Key is more of a traditional style of rapper, but not a traditional style of British rapper. So there's traditional rap, and then there's traditional British rap, which is very industrial. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Yeah, so we listen to a bit of stuff like that, and so that's basically my taste when it comes to hip hop. I know way more about hip hop than I know about jazz, to be completely honest. I met this dude on Discord who was a jazz musician, and he knew everything there was to know about jazz, and it was absolutely insane. And he gave me some recommendations, and that's basically how I built that playlist, off recommendations of people I meet like that on Discord who really know their shit, and I want to know what they listen to, you know. And so yeah, I know it's nice to hear what the commentators are saying when you watch sports, but it really is nice to listen to music and watch sports. That's very cool. And and you know, makes the game, it shows you, it makes you understand like the rhythm of the game, because there's a rhythm to the game. There's a rhythm to the way they play the sport, and the music makes you notice that, because sometimes it's in line with the rhythm of the music, you know what I'm saying? And it can be really entertaining. So yeah, but anyway, I'll have links to those playlists. And I hope FC Cincinnati does good in this tournament. um they've never won an MLS championship, but they're a newer team. But I'm pretty sure in sometime in the last few years, they won that trophy you get when you have like the best record in the league or something like that. So they're not bad. But I actually went to last thing I'll say. I went to a game where it was in Columbus, and it was FC Cincinnati versus Columbus Crew, and that's a big rivalry in the MLS, I would say, right now. Um, and uh, and so I went to that game a few years ago. Columbus Crew versus FC Cincinnati. Columbus Crew won. Of course, I was rooting for FC Cincinnati. Uh, but it was at the Columbus Crew Stadium, and Columbus Crew won. And but it was an amazing time. That's a good memory of my in the recent past, for sure, for sure. I'm trying to low key like count my blessings lately, so that I would file that in my mind documents as a recent blessing, a recent good time that I had. So yeah. Anyway, peace.